I'm not telling you how many girlfriends I have. Who's Rose? I can't remember all my girlfriends. All right. I mean, I'm done with the game, so eh. Also, did I just switch the game without fully realizing? I actually probably autopiloted and I switched the game. I don't even know I switched the game at a good point in time. Oh great, Future Moto might be angry at me. Yeah, I had a couple of those. James is not my girlfriend. He is my husbando waifu slash ex.
Wait, who is Rose? Like
Dragon
son?
No, from Dragon Quest Dark Prince.
Oh.
Me, I'm just doing some updating on some things.
This just is not my in a relationship. I need to double check on this since it's been a long time since I last played this game. Oh, these are short extra episodes. I won't play those until the very end.
Objection.
I like how they put unused in some of these games. Oh, that's pretty cool. I haven't checked all of these. Oh, congratulations on your anniversary. Oh, these are some of the trailers. I remember seeing some of these. Oh, I can have him have different suits in the game. That's cool. Oh, what the heck? And these outfits are only in Great Ace Attorney 2. As much as I that would be funny, I am not gonna do that. Yep, get some rest, Skull. I'll talk to you later. And congrats on the 3 years for sure. And that is as long as
Oh yeah, for sure.
That is as long as my last relationship. All right, let's continue it. I've been delaying it long enough. We saw a
I've only
preview of
been, like one official relationship, and it was like a year. That was like 8 years ago.
Yeah. I did show a preview of this beginning part, so good review.
Exhibition of London. Surely there is not a soul who has failed to hear of it. Wondrous new works of culture and industry from every corner of the globe had converged on Hyde Park, welcoming over 50 million visitors. The last great hurrah of the century. Astonished and delighted people of all nations, and ended on a note of resounding success.
Good night.
But as regards to the terrible catastrophe that occurred during the festivities, very few were aware my friend Mr. Herlock Sholmes had a hand in unraveling the matter. For from the shadows, it was he who earnestly unearthed the facts of the case. And like the centerpiece of the Great Exhibition, which rose high into the skies of Hyde Park, Sholmes's brilliant deductions, as clear and lofty as the Crystal Tower itself, brought the truth to light.
We're here at the showground of the Great Exhibition, which is absolutely packed with people.
Oh, autoplay.
The weather is unusually fine, and we're about to witness a most extraordinary scientific experiment.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 20th century will see steam engines and electrical power dominate the world. Horse-drawn carts will give way to the motor car. Ships will sprout wings and take to the skies. And today, we showcase even more advanced technology, a glimpse into the future.
I remember this part.
A demonstration of my super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine! A man will literally be disassembled by a pulse of high voltage electricity and beamed to another location. Whereupon his body will be reassembled by a series of complex calculations exactly as it was before.
So James, do you think this is gonna go well? James,
No,
do you think this is gonna go well?
no.
But a few moments from now,
What?
this gentleman will, in the blink of an eye,
I don't think this is gonna
This
go well
one
at
is gonna
all.
be fun.
Oh, James, do you think he's gonna be fine? Mike doesn't think he's gonna be fine.
Totally fine.
Wait, you say not fine? I forget.
Was this supposed to be a time machine?
No, it's supposed to be like a teleporter kind of thing. And that was it. The Sholmes swoop. Man, it's been a long time since I last voiced all these characters. Bruno, are you listening? Oh, sorry. What was that, Iris? What's the matter with you? You've been miles away all morning. Didn't you like that I cooked for breakfast? No, that's not it at all. What were we talking about again? Today's paper. It's full of news about the Great Expedition. Exposition. Again. Ah, yes, the Great Exhibition. I'd like to go sometime. Right, I remember what happened at the end of last episode. That kind of creeped me out a little bit because it just was sudden. You're really not your usual self today. You seem very down. Don't you agree, Hurley? Did you say something, Iris?
Oh gosh, you're even more down.
When did you arrive, Mr. Naruhodo? I've been here for half an hour already. We had breakfast together. What? Why didn't you mention it before? I, thought you might have known I was here, and because... Breakfast? Iris is quite right. You're clearly lacking in Vim. Are we talking about program Vim? Or some other Vim? So much so that I didn't notice your presence. Thanks. Of course, I could deduce the reason perfectly well with some simple observation. Is he like Kuroko from Kuroko no Basket? Where the more he diminishes his presence, the lack of presence, the people more ignore him? What? Let's see. Yes, for example, your tousled hair this morning with all its unruly spikes. Clearly, it can be deduced, therefore, that, let me stop you there, Mr. Sholmes, because I think I can see where this is going. My hair always looks like this. It always has, ever since we first met, in fact. Oh, really? How interesting. It just doesn't look like a haircut as such, I suppose. I can't do a fake laugh at this current moment. Too late. Thanks again. It crossed my mind recently that it's been 6 months now.
6 months?
Since I was forbidden from working in court. So I've been wondering how much longer I'm going to be banned.
Oh, well, that would explain why you seem rather glum. Don't you agree, Hurley?
Did you say something, Iris? Ah, he's back to moping. What's the matter? What's the matter with her, Mr. Sholmes today? It seems even more down in the dumps than me.
I know. And the Great Expedition,
Expedition, I keep calling it. Exhibition
has opened. You'd think he'd be excited. Oh, why don't we all go to see it together?
I want to. Of course I do. But I can't. Not for the time being. Why not? Why not? Why not? Because I'm a great detective after all. So you're embroiled in some tricky case that you can't be distracted from. Is that it?
I don't remember hearing that you're working on the case, Hurley.
I suppose I should try to find out what's going on. Half a year ago now, I took on the defense of a young girl in a trial heard at the Old Bailey. What at first seemed like a simple case of a murder that took place at London pawnbrokery turned out to be one part of a much more far-reaching plot that involved the British government. During the course of the trial, it was found that I made an unavoidable, yet at the same time unforgivable mistake. This was at the end of the last game.
Words fail me. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, my lord.
I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial.
Of course, my lord. In the end, I had my right to represent the people in court revoked. I was told I had to spend my time in research and study, so that's what I've been doing.
You have, haven't you, Runo? reading all those big tomes about British law in your room and the notes about Sholm's old cases.
Brewing Iris's special blends of tea, fetching my daily bread for me. You've become something of a manservant around here. Start on the silverware next, Master Naruhodo. Well, I'm thinking of going to ask the powers that be to reconsider, specifically Lord Strongheart at the British Supreme Court on Whitehall.
Lord Strongheart?
Ah, the delightful Lord Chief Justice. Not my favorite fellow. He's not mine either, but he's the man I have to talk to. He's the only one who can grant permission for me to start working in the courts again. I came to Britain to become the best lawyer I could. And I can't do that just sitting around here. I gotta wipe that down a little bit. The whole London has been swept up in this great exhibition, hasn't it? The most advanced science, the most modern technology, the finest works of art, and the feats of engineering. For the next 6 months, our capital will be showcasing these things, and the world will be watching.
Oh, do I know what I'd like to do? I'd like to look down on London from one of those lovely balloons.
Look down on... Do you mean those things? Fly?
Yes, of course. They fly high in the sky and don't even need wings to do it. All you need is hot air.
But how? How does hot air have anything to do with flying? It makes no sense. I can't understand it all.
That's true. A lot of new scientific discoveries. Most people can't understand them at first. But in 100 years' time, all these things would just be common knowledge.
Which is true, actually. They have been. I suppose they might be.
Mind you, some of the science being demonstrated seems very
questionable. Oh, I'm burping.
Something went wrong on the opening experimentation stage yesterday, apparently. There was a huge explosion. Still, I wish I'd seen it though. Oh, I love to see how bad some of these scam experiments really are.
Says the innocent 10-year-old girl. See here? Every page of this paper carries some article or other about the Great Exhibition. But the brighter things shine, the darker the shadows that are cast behind them. Personally, I find myself drawn to darkness, to the impenetrable... To the impenetrable. That is my proper atmosphere. Has been added to the court record. Oh. Shadows cast behind. Is that a metaphorical way of referring to the back page of the paper? I'm gonna check the evidence. On the front page is great news about public experiments demonstrating new scientific culture exhibits around the globe. It's all positive, hopeful century. You must all go along. The Reaper attack. Guys! There's a lost cat! Wait, what? What's the matter, Bruno? The Reaper attacked. Lord Von Zykes and the compatriot cornered. What? It's Lord Von Zykes. Interesting. I'm more interested in the lost cat. I'm sorry. The lost cat is more interesting to me than Lord Von Zykes.
Let me guess, Lord Von Zeeks is sort of like Moriarty.
Who is that?
Professor James Moriarty is the antithesis of Holmes.
I don't know Holmes that well, so I can't say for certain. But he's supposed to be your basically prosecution rival for this entire game series.
Yeah, when it comes to anything that related, I'm quite good.
That's fine. Okay. Gloomy mood.
Oh no.
Are you investigating a particularly tricky case at the moment, Mr. Sholmes? You could say that, I suppose. Nothing more to add. That's not very like you. That's not like you. What sort of case is it? Shh. Quiet, Mr. Naruhodo. We must not discuss it here. You never know who might be listening.
You're acting very strangely, Hurley.
What do you mean, Iris?
Yep. Well, usually. The more mysterious and complicated cases, the better Hurley's mood. Is it really a case that's bothering you?
Iris, please! You mustn't exercise your astute powers of observation and deduction on me without invitation. That's the person who actually does it. Remember what I always say. Put yourself in the shoes of the individual about whom you're making deductions. The irony. You say that, do you? You, Mr. Sholmes. Never mind. Once I've had a cup of tea, I must make my way out at once to the crime scene. That was a deep sigh. Yeah. Got something stuck in my mouth. I'm going to take a... Before we go to the Reaper attack, because that is clearly going to be the big emphasis on this part of the story. I'm going to go to the bathroom and then prepare for this, because this is going to be one long of a session. We'll try to make it a little bit long. I'll be back.
James. Yeah. All right, I'm back. I just wanted to make sure to get me something to drink. And then also to probably find out what next to play is. Let's see here. Oh, not down here. Oh, what would be fun? Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna play. I haven't played this in like a dog's age, so I'm thinking of launching it. Let's try it. I haven't played this game in a while. Do-do-do.
I'm back.
Boom.
Bathroom breaks are a thing. Ah, my controller is having, it's dying.
Oh no.
Oh no, Justin's watching. Better stop playing this game. Alright guys, we're done playing Ace Attorney. Chronicles. We're moving on to what is a game that Justin does not like to watch? I don't know. Obviously Genshin Impact games. All right. Clearly, he hates a Genshin Impact.
Gonna take one look and be like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, no.
Very much so. Justin buys all the Genshin Impact merch, and then he just burns it in the fireplace.
Oh, yeah.
Etc. Yeah, basically.
He sets all of it on fire.
Impact and Genshin, exactly. All right, let's continue on. I did take a quick look at how long some of these cases are, just so I can get a brief idea of how to plan out my streams. I think it said, well, no, not think, but I did see that this case episode I'm in is supposedly the longest out of all the other cases in this entire game. So if I can tackle this one in a good, meaningful manner, I should be able to finish this game pretty quickly. So let's see how it goes. It says in the paper that Lord Von Zeeks was attacked. That's terrible. Not that I care. You know the legends. You know the legend of the Reaper of the Bailey. Of course. Do you know the legend of the Reaper of the Bailey? Of course. Of. What? Instead of like ZZZ, it's OOO. That's how you know this is this is very much a Hoyoverse game made by Hoyoverse. Yeah, before they made Genshin Impact. You know the legend of the Reaper of the Bailey, of course, don't you? Well, only too well, in fact. Yes, Prosecutor Barak von Zeeks, who destroys wine and wastes a lot of money. They say that if the Reaper is the prosecutor in a case, there's no salvation for whoever's in the dock. I thought that said dick. In the dick. Even if the defendant
Only Nick would say that.
Even if the defendant is found not guilty. Once the Reaper has someone in his sights, one way or another, that person's time left on this earth will be short. Borger. London's finest rogues. London's finest rogues always find ways around the law. They'll stop at nothing to secure an acquittal at trial. Falsifying evidence, paying sham witnesses, threatening jurors, bribing judges, paying strippers, even having people turn a blind eye literally. But even such devious tactics as these cannot save them from the hand of the Reaper. As you've experienced yourself, haven't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I've seen the Reaper's retribution at work. Many of these criminal rogues are reckless and quite unafraid to die. If a leader among their fraternity is seen to have been taken by the Reaper, retaliation like this does occur. Really, the capital has a never-ending supply of such scoundrels. So, do you mean Lord Von Zeeks has been attacked like this before? This isn't the first time? He's quite an accomplished combatant, you know. He doesn't take these attacks lying down. In fact, he does these sitting down. It's clearly on the paper. You don't see his legs. He's clearly sitting down on some kind of like stool. Although, it seems that his assailants were armed with guns this time. I mean, yeah, everyone's armed with guns. See these? These are some,
bum.
I have some decent guns. Like, there are some people who have beefy guns. I can't believe people are that surprised. Everyone is armed. Literally. I mean, okay, not everyone's armed. Obviously, there's people who are armless, but they have some ways to get around without guns. Oh my goodness. Is he all right then? Is Lord Von Zieks hurt? More so, is he dead? Because I like him to be dead. My dear fellow, how on earth would I know?
Well, in the article here, it says, as to what of Lord Von Zieks and his conditions, all will be revealed in tomorrow's morning's edition.
Ah, I see. Well, we shall have to be patient then. No. I can't wait until tomorrow. In that case, you shall have to inquire with somebody in the know. But who? Lord Strongheart, perhaps? Well, I must be leaving now. Yes, understood. See you later, Mr. Sholmes. Ha! You really are a shameless liar. Sometimes, my dear fellow. What? You seek to put me off my guard and follow me, don't you? Well, you would be wasting your time. The thought hadn't crossed my mind, but now I'm wondering where you're going. Well then, see you later indeed. Listen to him. He's still laughing on his way out of the door. Ha 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 ha. What the frick is that outfit?
All right then, Bruno, let's get going.
Oh, Iris, what are you wearing? It's like a baker outfit.
I've got changed to go to.
I've got changed. I've gotten. Wait, shouldn't that be gotten? Am I crazy? Isn't that supposed to be I've gotten changed? I've got changed to go to Great X. Am I Englishing bad right now?
Wait, what?
I guess that's Britishisms. Yeah, I guess that Britishisms.
Wait, what? So, what did it say?
No, it says I've got changed to go to a great exhibition. That's I think irregular English or American English should be I've gotten changed to go to the great exhibition, but I guess that might be just a British old term.
No, that's Irish has it right.
I must be thinking of something differently then.
I've got changed to go to the great exhibition. You're going to take me.
What? But I was just about to go to the Supreme Court.
Oh, well, that's some fun too. You're going to take me there then.
At gunpoint. All right, fine. Just lower that weapon, would you?
Of course. And after the Supreme Court, then we'll go to see the great exhibition.
I like how he said lower the gun, but she put it higher still.
What is that gun gonna do? Throw pies at you?
Shoots like puff of smoke or something.
Hey, just thank God it's not like freaking the weapon from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
That would suck.
It's been about 6 months now since I was last here, but some things never change, like the sense of foreboding I always seem to feel in this place. It doesn't seem to be bothering Iris at all, though. She's happily reading over there.
Oh, I love this place. I always find so many interesting books here.
Of course, I was forgetting that you've been here before. The time we came here 6 months ago. When Susato-san was given the news that she was to return to Japan. Ah, I understand you wish to speak with me. Still the same as ever. Lord Strongheart, I trust you've been keeping well? Let's see. Since you've arrived and requested an audience, it's been 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 26 seconds. I kept you waiting a while. My apologies. Oh, no, not at all. I like nothing more than standing around staring into space. Good to know. Good to know that doesn't appear to be bother him at all. Mael Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of London. He's the man who allowed me to start practicing as a defense lawyer when I arrived in Britain as a student. You need only savor the air for a moment in his grand office to understand his preeminent status. As you will be aware, the Great Exhibition of London is now underway at last. We're extremely busy as a result, policing the grounds, guarding the new technologies, dealing with petty crime. I'm just disassociating. Naruhodo. And furthermore, as of next month, we shall open the International Forensic Science Symposium. Oh, I've not heard about that. Investigating authorities from 40 countries around the globe will be taking part, including from your own land. Forensic science is the future. The world must embrace it. As we're the hosting nation, I have much to do, and it is my highest priority. If others must wait for my attention as a result, so be it. No, science is boring. Coming from a scientist, science is boring. It should never be learned. It ruins your life, and scientists are just naming things very badly. Only one of those things are correct. Well, it's nice to know where I stand. So, you wish to consult with me? Of course, I can... No, wait, that's not Ryunosuke. Of course, I can very well imagine what this is about. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting, my lord. I want to be allowed to start working as defense lawyer again in court. That's what brought me here today. But actually, there's something else playing on my mind as it happens.
Runo, just take a deep breath and come out with it.
Permission to work! I actually came here today to ask for your permission. Go on. 6 months ago, my right to work in court as a lawyer was revoked and I was told to spend my time studying. Obviously, I'm very sorry for what happened. But the thing is, I don't remember what happened. Why was I revoked? Justin, refresh my memory unless this game refreshes it soon enough, but I don't think so at this current point. It made me understand what it really means to defend somebody under the rules of a foreign justice system. And I desperately want to have another go. Please, permit me to enter the courtroom again. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, here it comes. I'm sure you haven't forgotten your position here, have you? At best, you are a substitute for your compatriot. This was never your intended role. Which is true. He is one of the only few people to actually know the truth, and yet he let it slide that as I'm supposed to be the true person who's studying, but in actuality, not. Low battery, shut up. Well, that's true. The Japanese government actually sent my best friend on this study tour, not me. It should have been Kazuma. He was so determined to bring change to our own justice system at home. That was his calling.
that tragic accident hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here in this office office now. Mr. Asoji was my best friend, you see. That's why I can't leave it unfinished. I have to fulfill his calling for him. His calling, you say? Has it never occurred to you that perhaps you know nothing of his true calling? Sorry? The mission with which that young law student was charged. What do you suppose it really was? What do you mean? Mission? He's not making any sense. Like anything these types of games do, they never make sense.
Yeah, I feel like this guy is a Professor James Moriarty. He definitely has the feeling of it.
Yeah, but so far is not evil. He's just, as his name says, he's just strong presence and kind of cryptic. Never mind. I've read all the reports you've submitted over the past 6 months. It's clear to me that you regret your actions and have been studiously obeying your revised instructions. Do you mean? As of this moment, I reinstate your license to practice law here in Great Britain.
Thank you! Thank you so much! That's wonderful news, Muno.
In fact, I believe I have a perfect case to mark your comeback. A curious affair. You'll consider it, I hope.
Of course, please, tell me more.
Can't confirm he's strong and male. EA, just like that, no longer employed Ryu. What was the mistake I did in the final case, Justin, of the last game? I honestly don't remember. It's been a long time.
Don't tell him.
No, it's already happened, so that's why I'm just asking. If it's gonna if it's something that supposedly the game's gonna tell me is like a story, then yeah, don't tell me. But he knows enough. I just don't remember since it's been like, when was the last time I played the last part of the game? It was back in like 2022. That was the last time I played the last game, so it's been like 2 years pretty much. Oh, domestic secrets in court. Okay, so that's basically it. That's what I was kind of thinking it was, but I was wondering if it was something else. But okay, so if it's just that, then yeah, this is what I thought. Thank you.
Wait, domestic secrets.
So basically, at the end of the last game, when trying to solve like a murder, it turned out that a couple like tune discs leaked out in Morse code some actual government secrets that were trying to be stopped, kind of thing. It told the truth of what was happening, but because it leaked the actual information, he was being punished because these were actual London information. We got a little bit of a brief moment that there were like 5 people listed. It was like his best friend Kazuma, it was one of the Scotland writers I usually interact with. I think Herlock Sholmes was on it too, I think. I don't know, there was a couple people that I don't remember, but at the end it was like Iris was only able to list the names that it was presented, and that's it. And that's why he was like basically in trouble. So we were trying to figure out. Yeah.
For leaking names in court?
Well, like he was leaking the names in court in a Morse code kind of thing. However, those discs that he was trying to figure out as evidence were actual like government discs, and he was trying to prove a point with them, which ended up actually becoming government knowledge that those are actual government discs, like actual public knowledge that those are government discs. So he got in trouble because of that.
But that makes absolutely no sense.
Kind of does, because you're leaking government information, which is very detrimental for a lot of reasons.
But if you're trying to prove something in court, especially judicial wise,
well, here's the thing.
All evidence is considered.
Yeah, well, here's the aspect of this game. First and foremost, I don't know about the whole ruling of government like leakage of documents, if that's considered, because again, there's a lot of gray area within the law. All right. So you need to understand it fully. So even new information about this that you may not know could be relevant or could not be relevant. If it's not relevant, then that is dismissed by court, and that could still cause you trouble. The other issue is that this is taking place in the 1800s, 200 years before any of our current system. And the basic premise of the Ace Attorney series, like this game, is that the systems are broken, their systems corrupt, there's secrets, and they're trying to fix it. So the basic premise is that no matter what, a lot of things are stacked against you. That's pretty much what this game series is about.
Man, that's just...
It is what it is.
Baffles me a bit.
Well, it is what it is. It's how the game is set up, and it's meant to be stacked against you. That's how they want to tell the story, and that's how they're going to be.
Huh.
I just noticed something. Emoto... it looks like I need to talk to Emoto because there is a title in one of the highlights.
Ooh.
I'll talk with her later about it. You described it as a curious affair? Yes, that's right. I believe it was reported in the press. Are you aware that there was a serious accident at the Great Exhibition yesterday? Oh, no.
Yes, I read all about it. A professor from Germany tried to carry out a crazy experiment. Let me see, how was it described? Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, I think.
Instantaneous kinesis, as in moving things with a click of the fingers?
That's right. It's just like what my herbal blends need, a dash of devil-may care.
As I roll my eyes, that's a devil may care, devil may cry. It's a Capcom game too. Whatever the serious accident was exactly, it's clearly captured Iris's imagination. Usually I don't put another S after another S. It's an unfortunate business. A large explosion engulfed the public experimentation stage and a man lost his life. A certain Mr. O.D. Asman, an investor and a well-known figure in society. Large explosion.
A man died.
A man responsible for the experiment was Professor Albert Harebrain. Harebrain. Seriously? He was detained immediately after the incident and is due to appear in court tomorrow on the charge of murder.
What? Murder?
If you intend to take on his defense, you should hurry to meet him in prison at the prison. There is very little time left for you to carry out any kind of investigation. The Great Exhibition, a scientific experiment gone wrong, and a murder? Technically speaking, in normal cases, that could be like not in a sense manslaughter or anything. It could be in like accidental, but still could get you in trouble. I feel out of depth before I even asked. Still.
We should go to the prison straight away then and try to meet up with this German professor, don't you think?
Definitely. Ah, yes. One more thing about the case. There is a connection with a mutual acquaintance, the Reaper. Oh, with Lord Von Zeeks? How? All sorts of conferences have been taking place around the world to coincide with the Great Exhibition. And next month, the largest and most important of them will all take place at last. The International Forensic Science Symposium, or the IFSS for short. IFS. It does seem as though criminal investigation needs to embrace scientific methods, doesn't it? Exactly. Huh? London, the global epicenter of culture, science, and wealth, now has a population exceeding 6 million. Sadly, crime in the capital is growing at a similarly startling rate. So it's imperative that we use the latest scientific methods to investigate and resolve cases as efficiently as possible. Which is what's known as forensic science, isn't it? Exactly, the future of policing. Regrettably, however, Britain is currently dragging its feet when it comes to the adoption of forensic methods. Oh dear, that's alarming. Exactly, it's extremely alarming. If I were Her Majesty's Attorney General, you can be sure the numbers of crimes committed and resolved in London would be very different to the current figures. And I can cite 12 solid arguments and 223 individual reasons to support my claim. Sorry? By way of apology for keeping you waiting earlier, I shall detail every one now.
What? Oh, how fascinating.
It all began 15 years ago. I was... Alright, we're gonna be here for like 2 hours. And that more or less sums up my feelings on the matter, in the simplest of terms, of course. Essentially, to formally establish a forensic investigation division within Scotland Yard. That is my mission. Oh, right, yes, that's wonderful. Exactly, wonderful is precisely what it would be.
Iris isn't paying attention at all. She's got her nose in another book now. Oh, is it over? Did you learn anything useful?
I actually drifted off for the most part. Surprisingly ardent about forensic science.
Oh, that reminds me.
Have you seen this? The reports of the overwhelming success of the Great Exhibition? Of course. No, not that. The story on the back of the page. What story? The Reaper attacked. Ah, that. You've enjoyed some victories in court against my #1 prosecutor, have you not?
Poor Mr. Reaper.
All right, I have to also ask him about the Reaper's status.
Poor Mr. Reaper. What happened to him? He wasn't killed, was he?
There is no need for concern. Lord Von Zeeks would not be so easily dispatched, I assure you.
Can you tell us what happened? I'd really love to know.
Very well, if it interests you. Low battery, shut up! It does, strangely. Fortunately, Lord Von Zeeks emerged from the attack unscathed. Street ruffians are no match for that man. He's a very capable fighter. He should be put in Smash. Replace Sephiroth with Lord Von Zeeks. Or Pyra and Myth are too many anime characters. They need to add Lord Von Zieks. But that's incredible. They were armed with guns. Why was he attacked though? Do we know? It's related to the events that occurred a month ago. A leader of one of the capital's criminal organizations was indicted and prosecuted by Von Zieks. But the man was acquitted. I have no doubt large sums of money were involved behind the scenes. Large sums of money. A deplorable situation. Members of the jury were bribed, it seems. However, despite winning his freedom, the man in question met a dramatic end yesterday. But you're not suggesting that was the work of the Reaper, surely? The victim's henchmen certainly seemed to think so. He was a man by the name of Asman. Mr. Adi Asman. Did you say Asman?
That's the man who died in the big explosion at the Great Exhibition.
Yes, known publicly as an investor, but in reality, the head of a significant criminal organization. Dun, dun, dun! Dun, dun, dun! Dun, 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 dun. Done.
Oh boy, it's getting intense.
Unbelievable. I wonder, could I ask something about something, Lord Strongheart? Try me. Why do you use Lord Von Zieks as a prosecutor? All the criminals who manage to get off in court then meet with a mysterious end outside the court. And fearful of that fate, they seek to strike at Lord Von Zieks first. I know there's no evidence that he actually is the Reaper in that sense, but still, something's clearly going on here. I have Von Zieks work for the prosecution service for two reasons. Firstly, the man is the best prosecutor in the capital, bar none. Secondly, any deaths of criminals that have occurred outside the courtroom following his trials are nothing to do with him. But that doesn't make any sense. How can you explain the way so many have died if not by someone's hand? Von Zieks may have earned himself the moniker of the Reaper, but he is no killer. So he will continue to prosecute on behalf of the crown. Unless he wishes otherwise, of course. Well, I must be leaving for my next engagement.
Let's just say 1 and 1 does not equal 4.
I'm already 11 hours and 16 minutes late. My colleagues may be starting to fidget. 11 hours late? That's quite something. That meeting had already started when I arrived back here for this engagement with you. So lateness was inevitable. Time stops for no man. I'm sure it stopped for me during those 12 solid arguments and 223 reasons. Oh yes, where would I find Lord Von Zieks now? I would assume he's at his office. Right, I'll go ask him about the attack in person. I want to get this straight from the horse's mouth. Away with you now. I'm leaving Professor Hairbrain's defense entirely in your hands. Of course. Thank you very much, my lord. He's gone. Time to take your books. Should I go to the prison first, or should I go to the prosecutor's office first? Nah, screw the prisoner. I want to talk to the Von Zeeks. Oh, we're seeing his office and private quarters. He even has a giant portrait of himself.
Hey, Nick.
Hmm?
Remember, he did say straight from the horse's mouth. So he could go outside, go to one of the horse's carriages, and just ask the horse.
This is not D&D where we can ask this horse about what he thinks of Von Zeeks.
Hey, I mean, you said to go and ask straight from the horse's mouth, so I'm like, you know what?
Oh,
I'm
so,
gonna play around with the words there.
so this is the legendary Reaper's office.
Yes, it appears so.
It sends a chill down your spine, doesn't it? What an amazingly deathly atmosphere.
Oh, is that? That hooded figure was so still I hadn't noticed his or her presence. I wonder who it is. What are you doing here? Ah! That's not the weirdest thing that happened. He's as unwelcoming as I thought he'd be. Actually, maybe even more so. Oh, I'm glad to see you're well. I am. So, who's that person over there by the wall being punished or something or other? No punishment is taking place here. Oh. That's my apprentice, and he's sitting there of his own free will. I didn't know you had an apprentice. It must be the same person who was pictured in the newspaper. He is very able in combat, a requisite skill for anyone under my tutelage. Considering the fact you get attacked all the time, I say that is pretty much a requirement at this point. Are you referring to the attack on the Reaper that was reported in the papers? The Reaper? I'd be interested to know the Reaper's true identity myself. Assuming that is such a fabled fiend genuinely inhabits our great courtrooms. Aren't you the Reaper? Lord Strongheart said that the assault last night was some sort of revenge attack? True, carried out by the henchmen of Odie Osman's criminal organization. The investigation meant their arrests were imminent, presumably some hope to kill me before that happened. Odie Osman. He's always masqueraded as one of London's most powerful financiers. Just like the guy in the third case when we came into the last game. A global investor. But his enormous wealth came to him by understand means via his criminal activities.
He used that money to bury himself a verdict of not guilty when he found himself in court, didn't he? Being prosecuted by you, Mr. Reaper.
But the man got his comeuppance in the end. Yesterday, in fact, in extraordinary circumstances, it was a most unusual cause of death. I know about that. It was a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis gone wrong. Mr. Osman died from a demonstration on the public experimentation stage, ended in an enormous explosion. Correct. And you think I have some kind of divine ability to cause an accident like that to happen, do you? Well, no. That does seem a little far-fetched.
If this man really is a fabled reaper, then he has to be innocent of this particular death at least. Yeah. It's strange how this has worked out, isn't it, Bruno? I mean, what with you taking out the professor's defense for the trial tomorrow?
What? You're going to be defending him?
Oh, yes, that's right. Though I barely know the man's name yet, to be honest. I'm pretty sure that dialogue will be different. Albert. Albert Hairbrain. That's right. Do you know him by any chance? Of course. He's a contemporary of mine. We were at university together. You're... What? Nani? I understood that Professor Hairbrain was from Germany, though. So is he related to Janine? Hairbrain's from a respectable British family. After graduating from the University of London, he moved to Germany to carry out research. That's all. Never mind, he's not related to Janine. Okay. So you were students together. I was in the faculty of law, of course, and he in science, so our paths rarely crossed. But curiously, we got along, though I've not met him since my university days. I certainly didn't expect our next encounter to take this form. And with you, of all people, representing him. Only if I make it out of this office alive. He's actually been charged with murder, it seems. Yes, I know, because the prosecution will be handled by me. By you? But you made it sound like as if you and the professor had been friends. We are friends, it's true. Then why would you do this? If the Reaper is the prosecutor, there's nothing anyone can do to save him. He's doomed. What's Lord Von Zeke's thinking? What do you mean by what you said before? If you'd like to know the Reaper's true identity, does that mean... I, a crown prosecutor, and a mortal like any other. I am no demigod. But they all died, haven't they? The people you prosecuted, I mean. Well, technically speaking, the, Natsume hasn't died yet. He's been prosecuted like twice by the Reaper. And so far he hasn't died. He's just been kept getting into involvement. And then what, the last person? Oh, no. Yeah. And the person in the very last case of the last game has not died. So technically speaking, there's at least 2 people who has not died from prosecution yet. Whether or not the trial ended in a conviction or an acquittal. Those I prosecute are the vilest wretches of our society. People who, without question, deserve to be found guilty. The world is a better place without them. But that's not true that's not true of Mr. Natsume, for example. He wasn't a vile wretch at all. Nor was Ginny. In fact, she's ever so hard-working now. I can't deny that since I encountered you, things have taken a turn. But the point is this. If any of those vile wretches that escaped justice subsequently died in mysterious circumstances, it was at the hand of their own kind. Shut up! It's not my work. Also, I just noticed that he has a bunch of bottles and glasses. He must keep a lot of those. Lord Strongheart said the same. I believe you're not involved in any way. But you were attacked by those ruffians because they believe it's true. The fact is,
Since people started call me the Reaper of the Bailey, the number of serious crimes in the capital has dropped substantially. Oh, it would appear that even the most hardened criminals can be made fearful for their lives. Do you mean to say... I mean to say that if my pseudonym serves a useful purpose, I adopt it gladly and with honor. But it's putting you in danger. You could be killed. If that is my fate, let God decide. Lord Von Zeeks. I don't have much to present him because it was last night. Toast! I have to go to prison. Because I don't have much to say. How you doing, Toast? The warden said cell 11. That's this one. No, but this guy is in prison for murder, supposedly. No, I won't examine stuff. I will not be examining stuff. Oh, there's someone curled up in the ball in the back in the corner. Look, what's his name again? Professor Albert Hairbrain, wasn't it? Excuse me, Professor Hairbrain. Uh-oh, well. Who are you? I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a defense lawyer. A lawyer? Ah. Was it something I said? A lawyer, you say? Would you be here about the experiment? Or are you going to defend my hypothesis? Your hypothesis? I'm sorry, I don't... Yesterday's demonstration! That magnificent demonstration was... It was out and out of success by anyone's calculations. But despite that, no one listens. No lawyer believes in science when it's explained. They all leave at high velocity. He reminds me of Clement from the anime Pokemon X and Y anime. Believe in science. I don't know how much you know about this game, Toast, but this is based on the Ace Attorney series, which if you know about it, it's basically each game has like about 5 episodes, and each episode they have like someone in trouble. Most of the time it's murder. Someone's dead. So they have to resolve why this case happened, and then there's a mysterious case of doing stuff, and in the later games like this one, they put an overarching story. So they're all connected in some way, shape, or form. I can't replicate his high voice because that's not my vocal cord range. Now, it's probably not a good time to mention that your Zeo made my concentration leave for a while too. You mentioned the demonstration yesterday.
The papers have called it a spectacular failure. After all, a man died in the explosion, didn't he?
Yes, you could interpret the results that way if you really wanted to. Well, I suppose in strictest sense, the experiment was a failure, but at the same time, it was a great success. You've lost me. I saw it with my own eyes, right down in front of me. Mr. Asman was spontaneous disassembled. Until then, everything was going exactly as my calculation had predicted. At that point, he should have been beamed to the Crystal Tower by instantaneous kinesis. However, the machine exploded and Asman, in fact, and Mr. Asman. Oh wait, no. The machine exploded and Mr. Asman in fact perished. Yes, I can't deny the pilot of the experiment was a failure. So what you're really saying is the explosion that killed Mr. Asman was an accident, right? Correct?
But the bigwigs had you arrested on suspicion of murder.
I was responsible for the man's death. That is immutable truth here. And for that, I wish to be punished at once. All right, everyone, get your bats ready. We're going to be punishing him and beating him senseless to death. Almost death. What? Murder? Never in a million years. It was an accident. Simply an accident. I see.
Harry and I were talking this morning, you know.
Oh, burps.
You said the situation would change completely depending on whether it was treated as an accident or murder.
How exactly?
Well, if it really was an accident, then the professor's machine would be kept in protective custody.
On what grounds? Ah, yes. It's newly established here in Britain. The special defense... words! Why do you have to use big words? Can't you use the spec dis of act? Or something, I don't know. Use smaller words. I am not an English major. The Special Disposition for Scientific Equipment Act. Or the SDSEA. The STITSI. STITSI. Yeah, that's the acronym. That one passed me by.
But if the case is treated as murder,
then they'll say my machine was the murder weapon, and they'll be able to pour over it as much as they like. If they examine it in detail, they'll find out how it's made, and then they'll be able to copy my idea. My precious hypothesis will be stolen. The machine must be protected from that at all costs. Why use small word when big word confound streamer? Big words hurt. As that one bully in Jimmy Neutron. Big words, they hurt. If no one knows that reference. That's why it's imperative this whole accident is shown to have been an accident in tomorrow's trial. Ah, I see now. So, in short, there was a terrible accident at the Great Exposition showground yesterday. Yes, or I don't know, the devil is in the details. Strictly speaking, there was a terrible explosion. Sounds the same to me.
you were demonstrating super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, weren't you? How fascinating.
Humans, like all matter, are made up of particles that are held together by electrical bonds. So it must be possible using a sufficiently high voltage to break those bonds and beam particles through space. That's it in a nutshell. That's my idea, you see? That's my amazing hypothesis. Gosh, that's unimaginably high level science. Oh, but dare to imagine it, dare to dream of such incredible technology. Just think, one moment I could be here in the cell, and the next I could be at the Great Exhibition again. Well, yes, that would be incredible. And the next, in the mere blink of an eye, I could be at the Great Partisan Theater, say. The possibilities are endless. The whole of our vast planet will be within reach. So no more hiding in wardrobes on rocky seas for 50 days? That's a reference to the first game.
I don't really see it like that.
What do you mean, Iris?
Well, if you could travel anywhere in the world instantly, The planet wouldn't really seem vast anymore, would it? I think it would feel like its had shrunk.
My word! That's exactly right! What are the implications? What does this mean?
Oops, that's got Professor Bunnybrain really worried by the look of it.
Clearly, this is yet another case of just because you can doesn't mean you should, I suppose. Ian Malcolm's words are coming to reality again. Did they read Jurassic Park 200 years before it was made?
The point is, my calculations are flawless. The science works.
Actually, it's more than 100 years before it's made.
But without practical demonstration, it means nothing. And that's always the fly in the ointment.
Blah.
Because practical demonstrations cost a lot of money that young scientists like you don't have.
That's exactly it, yes.
Hurley always complaining about that. He says the government should invest more in science.
Well, anyway, I bumped into him at the right time. I met the well-known investor, Mr. Asman. The victim who died in yesterday's terrible accident, you mean? The full name of the man who died in yesterday's accident was Mr. Ozzy Asman, wasn't it? What exactly was your relationship with the man? He first visited me in my laboratory in Germany a year ago now. He said he wanted to invest in my immaculate hypothesis. I thank my lucky stars. I see. So you hadn't really known each other until then.
Money for scientific research. I'm so envious.
As far as I was concerned, the man was an angel. Oh, really?
An archangel, even. He was prepared to fund a practical demonstration of my hypothesis for the presentation at the Great Exhibition. And if that went well, I could expect additional financial support for my research from the British government. Mr. Asman provided me with the money and an exceptional engineer. He produced the machine to my precise specifications.
But then your dreams were blown to dust in one enormous explosion.
As you can see, I owed everything to Mr. Asman. I would never, ever have thought of taking the man's life.
Well, he seems genuine enough. I don't think he's lying.
How could this happen to me? I made my mistake, got nowhere to run. Copyright infringement.
I'm gonna head off for tonight.
Good night, Mike. Thanks for joining.
Yep.
He must feel awful as well as a man losing a life. The Crystal Tower was greatly damaged too.
I know what happened. It must have been that.
That?
The day before the demonstration, I had my usual meal of frankfurters at the hotel restaurant. When I paid the bill, they gave me 3 shillings, too much in change. But instead of saying anything, I just slipped the coins in my pocket, and they're still there now. It's divine retribution for my wrongdoing. That's what this is.
For a scientist, he has some very illogical and anecdotes. Long and illogical. Shut up. Lord Von Zieks, about the article in this paper. Yes, it seems there was a reporter nearby when that little skirmish took place. I had no idea I had been
autograph. It was careless of me.
It looks as though that it was taken after the people who attacked you, who had run away though.
Rest assured, the police have already apprehended every last one of them.
But there's someone else fighting alongside you, it seems. And I think it's that same man who's sitting over there as we speak, isn't it?
As I mentioned already, he's my apprentice.
Perhaps you could tell us a little more about him?
He's in my tutelage to become a prosecutor. So you could say he's my apprentice, I suppose.
Like you are to Hurley then, Runo.
I don't remember taking on an apprenticeship with a great detective.
He's currently compiling a report about last night's attack.
It looks like he's wearing some kind of mask.
On Lord Strongheart's orders, nobody knows the man's face, or indeed his identity.
But why would you agree to take on such a clearly suspicious individual?
Lord Strongheart's orders again. He's not one for meaningless follies. There will be a good reason for his actions.
I hope you're right.
Sus! The task is complete? Good. In that case, you can collate all the briefs.
Nice to meet you. Back to work again. That was really strange, though. I've never met the man before. I didn't even know he existed, and yet somehow it didn't feel like our first encounter. I got that feeling too.
Don't bother trying to converse with him. He says nothing to anybody from outside this office. Lord Strongheart has strictly forbidden it.
Oh, I see.
Why are you so interested in my apprentice anyway?
Oh, no! I mean, sorry. I didn't mean to. The way he stood there so casually, yet with that flawless posture. It couldn't be.
Yes, there's something I've been meaning to ask you.
Oh, what is it? What's that?
That Nipponese friend, is he faring well?
Sorry?
The one arrested twice in succession 6 months ago with the stoop and the mustache and the jitters.
You can't forget the jitters. Ah, Mr. Natsumi, you mean? He got arrested again in another court.
I'm not sure he'd be very pleased to find out you identified him from that list, Runo.
He's fine, thank you. In fact, I received a letter from him by international post only the other day.
I see. Well, I think we can end our discussion here, don't you? There's little time left before tomorrow's trial. I'd advise you to spend it investigating the case.
Yes, thank you for the advice and for the conversation. I can't believe he's asking after Soseki-san. After a Nipponese! I'm not sure whether I to feel happy about that or worried.
I never imagined that Mr. Reaper would be friends with a mad scientist, did you? That's a turn up for the books.
A mad scientist? Ah, you mean Professor Hairbrain? Yes, it might be worth quizzing Professor about his relationship with Lord Van Zieks, I think. Alright, we will examine one thing. One thing. I'll do the portrait because that's what's most interesting in. Majestic pose, but sadly, whoever painted it didn't do a very good job at facial features.
Yes, you're right.
So awesomeness. Reminds me. Napoleon, France. That's his father. All right, we did look at one thing. Now we're moving on to the prison. I don't want to spend too long with a lot of things though, because this game takes a long time, and it's also getting late. I understand Lord Von Zeeks is a friend of yours from your university days.
Ah, yes, that's right. He was studying law whilst I was studying science.
What was he like back then?
A good question. As unassuming, ungentlemanly, and all-round nice fellow, really.
Sorry, I think you misheard me. I'm talking about the cold-hearted, merciless prosecutor Barak Von Zeeks. What was he like when he was at university?
Talk about a leading question, Runo.
As I said, an unassuming and extremely pleasant gentleman. After all, he is a little darling of the Von Zeeks family, with all its great aristocratic origins.
I didn't realize he had quite such a noble blood.
Little darling. It was a bit of a shock when I came back to Britain and learned what he became. The Reaper of the Bailey, no less.
Yes, that's right.
I did hear, though, that there was a very big event in his life that completely changed him after graduation.
Really? What sort of event?
Ugh. I'm sorry, but I don't know anymore. I wasn't in the country at the time. I was in Germany already.
Oh, yes, of course. If he's heard all about the Reaper, I really don't have the heart to tell him that Lord Von Zeeks will be the prosecutor in court tomorrow. Wow. Rude. It's my game. It's my stream. I can do whatever I want. So, Professor, let me just make absolutely sure I've understood you properly. The huge explosion that occurred yesterday, that was an accident, you're saying. You had no intent to harm the victim, who was in fact the sole investor in your work. Is that correct?
As correct as 2 squared is 4. I swear it.
I was going to say, there's probably a proof out there that can probably prove that 2 squared is not 4. Like, 2 times 2 is not 4. Oh. Well, that too. That could be rude, but everything is rude.
Yes, it's true. The man perished in a machine of my invention. So I know that I'm far from blameless in all this. But still, I would never use my discoveries and my inventions to take a person's life. Not in a centillion years. I'm a man of science. It's all I know. You have to believe me. Please. Do you believe me? Do you believe my hypothesis? The science is the truth. You know, I've always believed that all my life.
I'm afraid I don't know much about science or your theories, but I do believe you, and I will fight to prove your innocence with all my might. I'm a man of law. It's all I know. You have to believe me, please.
When I went to live in Germany, after I graduated, I learned something very important. That there's a man named Professor Layton in this universe. Nationality, class lineage, none of all that matters. As long as you try your hardest, you can achieve anything.
Thank you for that, Professor.
And thank you in advance for defending me tomorrow in court.
Alright, Uno. It's time. Time to visit the Great Exhibition.
Sorry?
Well, that's where the incident happened, isn't it?
Yes. Suppose that's true. Time to investigate at last. Experimentation stage! Time to experiment on the property. Ugh, the showgrounds are too big for my liking. We've been walking around in dense grounds for 2 hours now, and I felt myself swooning 3 times.
There are a lot of people here, aren't there? Almost been trodden on 3 times, too.
You're a child. You're small. There's a reason. Be careful, won't you, Iris? Don't let go of my hand. We finally made it through the throngs. Made it through the throngs, though. Why did you say throngs? By the look of it. Here we are underneath the public experimentation stage, where the explosion happened yesterday. What's that? You can hear voices from up on stage. It sounds like an argument. Throng. Conventions in a nutshell. Yeah, true. Throng. A large, densely packed crowd of people or animals. He pushed away through a throng. Sounds so weird when you say that. Like, I've been through a throng. I'm just... I don't know if these are the best characters, though, Justin. But he does have fish and chips. Infinite. So... it's hard for me to not put him lower than the top 10. Her, though, she's at least in top 20. They're the infinite fish and chips, yes. Yes, I know. I was going to say that. Yeah, they're infinite fish and chips. Right. I've had it with you this time. I'm warning you. I'll arrest you in a minute.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I forgot what voice I gave her.
Oh, yeah? Go on then, Spectre. Give it a shot. You got no evidence on... and you know it.
Wait. I know those voices. You've got a cheeky little mouth on you, young lady. But our night in cells will teach you some manners. She already did some nights.
Just try it, I dare ya. If you want that old back, old chips rammed down your throat.
I can't say her, like, give her the accent. It's such a fluent manner. I'm so struggling with these accents. And I'm sorry for brutalizing in so many of these. These are some different, like, positions for these models. You never get to see these types of positions. This is interesting, and it's unnatural, it's different, and I'm uncomfortable because of just how different the models' positionings are.
Yoo-hoo! Galaxy! What are you doing up there?
What? Oh! Oh! It's here! You're here! You're late! Oh, here you are! You here! Your ladyship! Oh, your ladyship. I do hope you're well, your ladyship. Shut up, controller! Does that make her 3 times a lady?
I'm not well at all. It's far too busy here. Busy everywhere. I wanted to ride the balloon, but there was
A 3-hour queue. Oh my god, that sounds like a typical Disney ride. And like how PAX was. give you context, like there was Monster Hunter Wilds at PAX, and that line queue was like 4 hours long. It was basically took up the entire day for people. If you did not get in there at the beginning, you're basically shot out of luck for that game. I'm gonna find some water. Justin, you should have came to PAX. It was actually kind of fun. We could have done stuff and played games, and you could have tried Zenless Zero. I actually tried Zenless Zero for first time, even though it was only minigame form. Actually, did Carl ever tell you about what we got at Zenless? Not in terms of like any special merch, because I didn't go bother for it or anything of like that stuff, but we got like actual coins representing Zenless. I'm pretty sure these are. Like I got these coins, and these are not plastic, by the way. These are actual metal. These are actual metal. You can hear that. That's actual metal. So, yeah, these are... They just gave these out to a lot of people when you participated in the booth. So, it was like, oh, pretty cool. Unbelievable! I'll go and have a word for you at once, your ladyship. You'll be flying as high as a kite in no time once I pull some strings for you. Dude, I have to really practice this voice better, because otherwise I'm just gonna keep dying in terms of like these voice accents. Especially his, because I'm ruining my throat with it a little bit, because I'm not prepared with that. Tobias Gregson, an inspector at Scotland Yard. Until recently, he was suspended from duty, but it would appear he's back in action now. Oh, so he was also suspended from duty, like I was. I'm pretty sure for the same reason. I forgot. He was in like the last case, so I completely forgot that last case was like a pre-information, like not pre-school, but event like in the past and stuff like that. Got it. He's actually quite well known, appearing as he does in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And for that reason, he can't say a word wrong to the story's author, Iris. But there are limits, surely. Or there should be. Watch it, sunshine. Sorry. What gives then? Don't tell me you're on this case. He was actually hearing my notes. Yes, I'm acting for the defense. So we're here to investigate. Dear me, that's the situation, is it? Is it really that troubling? Tisk! A measly 5 bob? Is that all you got? Oh, no, wait, that's her. This measly 5 bob, is that all you got? You're a lawyer, aren't you? You couldn't stand to carry a bit more copper around your pockets, Mr. Nara Odo. Well, hey! That's my last bit of spending money, that is! You can have it back. Don't, but I'll have to charge you for all the bother. 3 bob. God dang, I gave her a masculine voice. This is Jean Lestrade, a pickpocket or diver born and bred in the East End of London, in the case that led to my suspension 6 months ago. This is the young girl I was defending in court. Yeah, no, I was gonna say she was in another case, but no, she was just involved in another case. She wasn't technically
The one being defended then.
What's your problem, eh, Aldo? Dariver, pickpocket. What's you've got all? What's with all the name calling?
They can hear my thoughts.
What's with all the name calling? You want a bag of chips rammed down your throat and all, do ya?
I thought you were proud to be a diver, Gina. You were just arguing with the Inspector Gregson about it, weren't you? I assumed you'd been up to your usual tricks here at the showground.
That ain't no way to talk to a lady, Odo. Half a year is gone. It's a long time. People can change. I'm an apprentice now, learning to be a Scotland Yard detective. So you'll have to be calling me what everyone else does. It's Inspector Lestrade now.
Inspector? That badge is homemade, surely. 997. The inspector part isn't entirely accurate. No one calls her that. For what it's worth anyway, investigating is off the cards for all of us.
What's that supposed to mean?
Right. Well, I'll be back up top. You hold the fort down here, alright?
Right, sir.
This raises a lot of questions. And this also extends this whole session. I was hoping to be done in 2 hours. Jesus. There's a lot of talking in this part. It was 8 months ago now that I first encountered Gina in a connection with a case I was working on. At the time, she was living in East End with a group of other orphans. She helped all of them survive by pickpocketing, and then she embroiled in a murder.
I had a lot of time to think in prison. I realized I couldn't go on like I was. The diving weren't working out. Oh, I'm so pleased to hear it, Jeannie. Well done.
So you went from being a pickpocket to a detective?
You got it. Good, innit? Inspector Lestrade. Sounds like something out of the box, eh?
Talk about a sea change.
And then there's Iris's old man to talk about.
Iris's father, you mean?
Yeah, I promised her, didn't I? I said I'd get all the police forces around the world to pull up all the stops looking for him.
Just a small promise then, nothing serious. Well, unfortunately, there is a bit of a issue that obviously Ryunosuke knows about.
Oh, Ginny, you're so sweet.
So anyway, can't say her lines because I'm not used to this.
So anyway, that's how I had to go at the test for Scotland Yard. Only trouble is, I don't read so well, do I?
Neither do I with your lines. Just a small problem, nothing serious.
And that's when Hurley approached Gregsy and asked for help.
So the inspector said
He'll take full responsibility for Jeannie and made her sort of an apprentice.
that was very magnanimous of Inspector Gregson and brave.
Well, you know Hurley. He enjoys finding ways to make people do what he wants.
The great detective likes digging for dirt, in other words.
So, the long and short of it is, if you've got questions about the case, you can ask Inspector Lestrade.
Right then, Inspector. Actually, there's still a big mystery surrounding Gina, isn't there?
Oh, what the Runo? What? Oh, what? Runo, what?
Well, 6 months ago, Gina was defended in the trials prosecuted by the Reaper. A trial in which she was found not guilty, and yet she is still...
Come on, you're not still on about that, are ya? The legend of the Reaper, or whatever it's called. Core. Yeah, don't have to worry, Odo.
If I didn't have worry, there probably wouldn't be a whole lot of you left.
It's like I told you before, innit? The Reaper's kinda or like I'm upstairs, so he knows what I'm like on the inside. Well, I ain't really done nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong. Might be stretching a point.
What about Mr. Natsume in Japan? He's perfectly fine, isn't he?
Well, that's true. Perhaps the Reaper is more discerning than I thought.
Exactly. So I ain't worried. I'm totally fine.
I feel like you're gonna get trapped up in like the final case of all this, probably.
Corey, what was out of this world it was?
Burp. You can't burp, Justin. I'll ban you. Just kidding. I won't ban you. I'm just gonna be nice to you.
Wait, you what?
Justin's BRBing. You can't burp out of my stream. Justin's not allowed to do that. He is a mod that I'm forcing to be on my stream 24/7 every time I live.
The brainy bloke pulled a bunch of levers on its machine and suddenly it started blowing a whistle. This whistle blew in smoke. Then it just went pop. I ain't seen an experiment here yet.
Sorry?
You mean you saw it, Genie? With your own eyes? Yeah, of course. The boss is in charge here, ain't he? Oh, keeping everything running smooth, man.
The boss being Inspector Gregson, I suppose. That's going to take some getting used to.
So all I have to say is that I'm on duty and I can do whatever I want to. Get this, I was up to one of them flying balloons.
Yeah, I'm up with those damn flying balloons. Oh no.
Got this, I was up in one of them flying balloons when it happened, watching it from above. No, you're so lucky, Genie. Maybe I should join Scotland Yard too.
I am butchering these voices now because I'm losing my throat a little bit. Can't handle like 8-hour sessions right now.
Yeah, do it. You know how to put up the boss in his place, right? Already, right, Iris? You'd have no trouble at all. Then it's settled. When do I start?
No, you can't join Scotland Yard, Iris.
We'll see. Anyway, what I don't understand is this. If the machine explodes so spectacularly, how can Professor Bunny Brain still be claiming that his experiment was a success?
Oh, that's right.
Well, it was a success in a way.
It was. How could it have been? Parts of the body went into the building. Surely after the whole machine blew up, no one could call the experiment a success.
It's like I said, it did sort of work. I mean, yeah, there is a smoke and that opened the Great Bang. But where do you think they found the victim's body, eh?
In the Crystal Tower over there.
What?
In the tower?
See for yourself, can't you? From above the scaffold.
Oh, there's a glass broken, you mean?
Yeah, the cage the victim got in to start with really did get beamed through the air or what and landed all the way over there. So you see, it did kinda all work, didn't it?
What? I don't believe it.
I mean, I don't get the ins and outs about it, but anything's possible, right? With science. I'll tell you what, you can have this. It's a plan of the experiment they threw up at the yard.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go on. I had 3 bob off you before, so fair's fair.
Yes, I didn't actually give that to you, did I? Sketch of the experiment has been included in court record. Just gonna double check this. Oh, Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know what this is going to be significant for. Something Inspector Gregson said before seemed a little strange. From what it's worth anyway, investigating is off the card for all of us.
Yes, naughty old Gregson ran off without explaining himself. Ah, right, up that. The boss said no one's allowed to investigate that weird machine what blew up yesterday. That's not fair. We're representing the defendant.
In that case, could you at least tell us what you've learned from your investigations?
Nah, you're not getting it. We ain't allowed to investigate neither.
Why?
What did the boss call them again? Forensic investigation team, I think. Anyway, apart from them, no one's allowed to lay a finger on the scene. Bit funny, ain't it?
So even Scotland Yard's own detectives can investigate. Yes, I've never heard something like that before.
I thought I could have a gander on the quiet though, but the boss caught me at it. Probably heard him giving me an earful about it before you're down here, didn't ya? It's not bleeding fair.
I think you were giving him as much of an earful back as I remember it.
Yeah, well, sometimes I think it's all them chips what make him so stubborn. You say something to me. You say something to him, Odo. Go on, see if you can get through to him.
He's up on the platform above us, is he? Where the machine exploded is.
We can try, can't we, Bruno?
Rexy will listen to us.
Look, there's a ripped piece of cloth.
It's not like any fabric I've seen before. It's very thick and stiff. It looks very durable.
It's canvas, I think, with some sort of rubber backing.
Edges appear to be a bit charred as well. Maybe that means it had to do something with the explosion.
Let's take a note of it while Ginny's mid-yawn.
For some reason, the ground's damage spot here too. Almost as if there was a fire here or something.
Yes, if you look closely, there's some scattered ash around the embers too.
Well, suppose there are some big explosions just above here. You probably wouldn't bat an eyelid at a small fire like this, would have been.
I'm not sure we English are quite that laid back, Bruno. Ah, it looks like somebody dropped something behind the tree just here.
Dropped or hid? What's this? Some part of a machine that exploded?
Maybe. If it could fall in from the platform above in the blast, perhaps.
What's going on here? Oh, nothing. I think I'll hang on to this just in case. Mysterious contraption has been entered in the court record. Stick layer. Yeah. Could appear in struck with lightning. Or maybe not. There's something about it's probably going to do with powder of some kind, I'm guessing. This is like a crossbow or some kind. Lever here. What the? What is this? Crossbow gun. Archer training. Of course you could have. Can't go there. So the Crystal Tower is certainly up an app name. It's definitely a bit of focal point of vision. Definitely as long as tower with glass. I imagine direct to Japan. There's a lot of expeditions in the tower as well, apparently. And of course, there's an observation deck, and there's also a gallery and museum. But I heard you have to queue in for 3 hours just to get through the doors. Well, at the moment, the shattered glass from the failed experiment may as well be the biggest draw. And thanks to the accident, the whole tower is shut. Suddenly, it's not a crystal tower anymore, but the crystal glass shower. Apparently, everyone's talking about the skies now to look down the disaster area from above instead. But there's a 3-hour queue to go up the balloon now. Londoners must be very patient people. I'll say, yeah. I'm gonna skip some of these text reading wise. There's so much text I've been reading today. 9 a year. As soon as wait. 9 meters. Ah, they're not using the American system or whatever. Ugh. I didn't even check above. Ah. So that's it, is it? The machine that blew up. Oh, it must have been a magnificent explosion, and I've seen my fair share. You've seen things like this before, you mean? Of course, Hurley's always doing experiments at the end in the bang. In fact, in his own words, explosions are the very essence of chemistry. Well, that might explain the smell of burning that frequently comes wafting up the stairs. One time, he made something that exploded with such force, it took the roof off the building. I wish you've been there to see it, Runo. It's hard to get excited about that, given that I now live in the roof. Anyway, that's enough about that. It's time to investigate. Ah, look, Inspector Gregson's over there. Seems like he's deep in thought of something, whilst eyeing up the machine carefully. Really? He just looks confused to me. Somebody beam through the air. Oh, stop! Please, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you, but I can't let you touch anything. Wow, he's chugging that. Wow. It really is into it. It's like old times, this is. You're representing Professor Hairbrain in court tomorrow, Inspector. We should be allowed to examine the scene.
Ha! Listen, Sunshine. Even though I'm not allowed to touch anything up here, it's that blasted special dispensation for science experiment act to blame. It's driving me potty.
Yes. That special dispensation. The first one mentioned that, too.
More red tape's all we need. I don't know what the government thinks it's playing at sometimes.
But we're allowed to just look, aren't we? Surely that's alright, isn't it, Grexy?
Of course, your ladyship. Anything to say, your ladyship. But please don't get your dainty hands dirty, will you?
Don't worry.
We wouldn't dream of touching anything, would we, Runo? She really knows how to get what she wants. I could examine the balloons. Doesn't explode, of course. Hello. I'm eating right now. Give me a second. There's so much dialogue in this one. Let's see.
Complication falls around science, so naturally there's going to be a lot of words.
Mm-hmm. I was expecting this section to be done like an hour ago.
Yeah, you haven't even gotten to really investigate anything yet, which is like, wow.
No, that's why I was like, also, that's why I was wondering why I'm not doing any investigating. Okay, yeah, Miss Reynolds, Miss Sir. I hate using Gregson's voice. I am not prepared to use that voice. I keep hurting my throat because of it. Personal claims.
An arrest, Sunshine.
No, it's breathing cap. Answers the question. He's really in fine shape for eating so much fish and chips.
Oh, he has to walk around up a lot.
I mean, that's burns enough, I guess, enough calories for each fish and chips he munches on. Capital A.
We won't touch a thing. Starts touching stuff.
I mean, if we're wearing gloves, we're not technically touching anything.
It's the gloves touching.
Very much.
Gaslight, girl keep, girl boss, Iris. goes the evidence.
Oh, poor Gregsy. He's following the rules. Give him some slack. Ferris wheel. Sometimes Ferris wheels can go slow. Sometimes Ferris wheels can go fast, depending on the size.
Sometimes they're used for anime dates.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it would be so dangerous they cause Final Destination. Is that the Taj Mahal? Steely Samurai. Sean Mage Top Knot? I don't think he has a top knot anymore. I don't think he has that anymore. He cut it off in the first match. Well, technically speaking, he doesn't know that right now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he did. Like, he did a bit ago, but then he cut it off. Okay, so I can't look around. Got it. How do I go back down? I wanted to check above, but I didn't get to check above. God dang it. I guess I have
You mean down below?
Down below at the Crystal Tower, there was. I noticed that I can go above, but I clicked the stairs, not realizing that I can go. That's how you walk up.
Yeah, no, I've seen a playthrough where other people have done that.
Mm-hmm. Kind of stupid, but they don't give you like the
Oh,
option.
but normally you just do the move command, and then that's how you move, and then yeah, it's weird.
All right. Using high voltage electricity to somehow disassemble a man's body and then beam him across the Crystal Tower? It's an extraordinary thing to attempt, especially in public. True. It was by far the most unusual of the experiments planned for the exhibition in my mind. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised it was allowed. Carrying out something so dangerous with so many spectators present, I mean, the government's doing everything it can to promote new science and technology at the moment. They're more worried about being ahead of the game than they go odd spot of public safety infringements. Oh, the irony that the USA kind of did the same thing with the nuclear bomb. But the nuclear bomb was also, was war. And then there's like other like technologies that people want to be first on because of like image and like other situations. It's so true, even in current day. If they can be the first to develop some new technology, it makes Britain more powerful in the future, you see. Yes and no. They become recognized in history as the ones to create the thing, and that will be forever in their history books. But improving it has always been like another person developing it more sometimes. So well, there's always a fact that there's some other people that would make it better, and they've always done it in other places too. So yeah, there's yes and no to that. Yes, I suppose that's true in a way. So the powers that be are placing on heavy emphasis on scientists' rights at the moment.
What sort of rights?
They're making it so that any theories the brains have remain in their legal property, as it were. Right to developing it into a practical ideal and even going into production, which is the infuriating reason us coppers aren't allowed to touch this crime scene. Because a new high-fault-litten special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act forbids it. Ah, I see now. The only people with permission to investigate here are some brand new department at the yard. The Forensic Investigation Team, it's called. It's been regulated to keep and guard.
The Forensic Investigation Team.
Any old fool can see that this is a heap of scrap metal that was a sham to begin with. But just because it says scientific equipment on the paperwork, we can't do a flaming thing with it.
Poor Grexy. He's very het up, isn't he?
I've never seen that say het. Remind me again, what's this new legal act that means we're not allowed to touch the scene here? Are you having me at... Are you having me at it, Sunshine? It's a special disposition for Scientific Equipment Act. I can't say it in the acronym SIDC, because that's not how this worded game works.
Yes, I think Hurley mentioned that recently with a real twinkle in his eye, as I remember.
I'm sure he did, your ladyship. He sure did. Past, especially for this great exhibition it was. All scientists have to do is present their ideas or inventions to some suits in the civil service. And if it gets rubber stamped, that's a guaranteed right to maintain the invention's confidentiality.
What does that really mean? Think about it. Think about all the world-changing new inventions on display every day at this exposition. Although a good half of them are all load of cobblers, if you ask me. Put forward by shamas like yourself. Thanks for that.
Oh, I love how absurd some of the inventions here are. It's also fun.
It might be fun for you, but a member of the force has to be present at every single demonstration. Can you imagine, eh? Hang science, that's what I say.
Oh, I don't think so. That sounds like my dream job.
You'd soon think otherwise after spending a day guarding all these shambles, bogus contraptions.
But if they're all bogus, how can anyone hope to demonstrate them? There'd be no point.
Yeah, well, there is a point, sadly.
Sorry?
Thanks to another of our government's bright ideas. If any theory or invention is deemed to show potential, the government hands out a research grant.
Scientists get funding? This sounds too real.
Exactly. And that's what they're all after. All these shamas coming from far and wide to clog up Hyde Park. And who has to keep them all safe? Who has to smile politely welcome them? Us coppers, that's who. So you can see what I can say now. Can't ya? Hang science! Hang it!
Oh, maybe I can see your point.
Well, it's a good thing Gregsy's not alive into the modern day age, otherwise he would be very upset about a lot of things.
Apparently, Professor Hairbrain lives and works in Germany, now conducting his research.
That's right. Came back to Britain, especially for the Great Exposition. I understand it. Probably after one of those government research grants. Actually, we learned something else about the professor earlier today, about his time in further education. It turns out he was a university with someone we both know, Lord Von Zieks.
What's that? That news to me? But if Von Zieks means the prosecution, then as accused, the professor's fate is
Sealed? Because the Reaper will get him one way or another?
Blimey, that man's beyond me. I don't know what goes on in that head of his. Talking of Van Zieks, this morning's paper ran the story of him being attacked. Read that?
Oh, yes. But Mr. Reaper's completely fine. Nothing to worry about.
Yes, right. Glad to hear it. Still, the Reaper, how long's that business gonna keep up, I wonder?
The victim of this case, the investor, Mr. Asman. He was another of Reaper's victims, or so I heard.
Lord Beric Von Zieks is a top-class prosecutor, and even he can't always push the right verdict through. Sometimes justice can't win.
Yes, I've heard about jurors being bribed and evidence being falsified. And that's how the notion of the Reaper of the Bailey came about, isn't it?
Obviously, Scotland Yard suspected Von Zieks initially. We all assumed he was taking matters in his own hands if he failed to seal the deal in court. Although the man...
That's not Gregson. Although the man himself denies that charge.
Well, we've done a very thorough investigation, and the conclusion we've reached is that Lord Von Zieks is in no way related to the deaths of those people outside of the courtroom. There's no question in my mind. I'd stake my reputation on it, I would.
But if that's true, then how do you explain it? All those defendants couldn't just coincidentally died if nobody killed them.
I know it, but I can't explain it.
It's called, plot. The game writers. Blame the game writers. They kill them because it's called plot.
Learn about what I call it?
What?
People die when they are killed.
Ah. Like the water is wet kind of scenario.
Yes.
Or, what was that that anime that just has that weird stuff like I'll pleasure myself with this fish?
What? Why was that what you thought of?
I was trying to think of the I'm trying to think of that anime. I'm just trying to remember it, but that was like actual subtitles apparently. Fan or real? I don't know. Remember what it is? But there were like actual statements in the anime apparently that would be like, oh yeah, this thing is this is that kind of thing, obvious stuff.
It's a mystery after all, isn't it? That's the whole point of the Reaper.
Professor Harebrain mentioned something else. He said that at university, Lord Von Zieks was a totally different person, easygoing and kind.
You what?
He said that it was after they both graduated that something happened to change the man. Do you have any idea what it was?
No clue.
That's a lie! That's a lie! He has his hat down. That means it's a lie. He knows something. Really?
Look, I've got my hand full, Watson, over this frustrating clamp scene. Why don't you go and make a nuisance of yourself elsewhere, eh?
Shut up. There's nothing I can touch here. Just double checking, because clearly I can't go back down.
Oh, you could.
Can I? Where do I click for that?
stairs to the right? Because you came in from the left, right? When you...
Yeah, there's nothing I can see. I mean, I can click this and it... Yeah, that's the machine.
Or do you have to use the move command?
I've tried and it doesn't... It's only this stage. Like, if I use the move, it literally is that. I mean, I guess I could just do this. Hi, Zeeks. I'm using your office temporarily. Bye. I guess that's how you do it. That's such a weird way to do it. I didn't see anywhere else. Okay, so yeah, let me look at that. That's paramedic success. Okay, that was literally the only thing I had to click on, and I couldn't go down, and that's like that kind of pisses me off. I was gonna click on that, but I didn't realize the stairs were like, oh, you can walk up the stairs and not go back down. God dang it.
Bruno, listen.
What? What is it?
I've been thinking. Hurley might know something, mightn't he?
About what?
About the Reaper.
About what happened to Lord Von Zeeks, you mean? Because it sounds like something very significant occurred after he graduated from university. Something that completely changed his life. Maybe, but I have no idea where to find Mr. Sholmes at the moment. He's in the middle of some big case, isn't he? Just give it a second. This game has a plot to go through.
Here, this is what you need.
What's this? Some kind of entrance ticket? Madame Tussbells? Is this supposed to mean something to me?
You don't know it? The most popular attraction in London at the moment. It's very close to Baker Street, actually.
Oh, I'm gonna burp.
We should go now, if you like.
No, we don't have time to visit attractions today, Iris. We have a big trial tomorrow.
But that's where Hurley is.
What? At this popular London attraction?
Yes.
How is it that you know where he is?
Hurley told me, but he told me to keep a secret from you, Bruno.
Madame Tussbells? I don't see how it could be related to the case we're investigating, but then stranger things have happened, and when they happen, Mr. Sholmes is usually at the heart of them. Hi. Bye. Also, how did he hide that crossbow in his, like, whole thing, as I'm wondering. Oh,
What
look,
a nice place.
people being murdered. Nice. I love this place. What is this place? Look at all these terrifying scenes. But why are all the people so still? Guillotines, ruthless murderers. I know what I'll be dreaming about tonight.
They're all wax models. They're amazingly realistic, aren't they? What do you think, Bruno? Shocked?
Wax models? I read about dead bodies and wax ones in a magazine about strange phenomena. Depending on how corpses are kept after death, parts of them can turn into wax, apparently. It's called, what the heck is that word? Adipocere. I don't know. I don't know what that word is. Justin, look it up. Be my dictionary.
Okay. Add a poker. That's I probably butchering it. Anyway, grayish, waxy substance formed by the decomposition of soft tissue in dead bodies subjected to moisture.
So it's an actual thing. Interesting.
Yes.
Didn't know that. This game is teaching me English that I don't want to learn.
Stop talking about creepy things like that, Runo. You're scaring me. Anyway, apothecary doesn't form doesn't form readily, you know. It's only in very specific. What now? What now? I've just remembered something else. I read in another magazine about strange phenomena. There was an old lady, maybe a witch, who used to pour molten wax over corpses and put them on display. None of the exhibits in here are real.
He has an unnatural feel of wax.
They're entirely man-made. They're entirely man-made replicas.
It can't be. Do you really expect me to believe that? Just look at them.
Oh.
There's no way anybody could make models of people that are this realistic. Oh, you're right. And there's that ugly fellow right over there. Looks like an actual murderer. Not the guy with a knife.
Which one?
Not the guy with a knife. The guy with the knife looks like a normal person. Like he's actually a normal citizen. Like he probably is trying to help that lady down there who fell over and just be like, "Hey, I'm cooking something, but I heard you fell over. Let me pick you up." And then the guy over,
or she dropped her knife and he's just offering to give it back to her.
yeah, but the guy on the right, oh, that's totally fake. That is ugly. That's really, really ugly. Worst wax version I've seen. I've seen a good chunk of them. About 0 in my life. I've seen videos though. And they're all such gruesome scenes. Wait.
What is it?
Oh, no. I must be seeing things.
What are you seeing?
An ugly person.
Oh.
Man, this investigation is taking long. It's like 2 investigations in one, is it? It just feels like it's such a long investigation. Ah, so it's an exhibition for like the actual popular merch. Why would they actually make an exposition like this? Like, actually. Jane the Ripper. That's such a weird way, but I feel like that's actually a story. Yep, there we go. What's the surgery? I don't know what it is. Yeah, don't talk about like Japanese culture in a Japanese-made game about Western culture. Is Europe in Western and Eastern culture? I forget. Looks like there's nothing else in this place. I'm just thinking I should probably just leave. Alright, let's go back to prison.
Yeah, I don't even know why we came here. Do you remember?
No, I don't know. I'm gonna go back to sleep. We have a trial tomorrow. Alright.
gotta rest up. Gotta prepare.
Pretty much. It's the great detective Sherlock Holmes. The fact that holding up the fist there is really takes a lot.
Just go to a place and be like, hey, let me go kick random stuff.
To be honest, that would actually ruin a wax sculpture easily. Like, instantly. Wait. Alright, punch him in the dick. Destroy his family jewels.
It's a great murder scene to enjoy.
My dear fellow, I take an exception to recoiling in such a manner as if you've seen something truly abhorrent. I knew it! Iris, what possessed you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork secret to Mr. Naruhodo.
I like how you're more upset about that than getting kicked.
Yeah. Temporary waxwork? What do you mean? That kick! Could you have not exercised a little more restraint? You winded on me. But Bruno has something he needs to ask you. Ah, a question. And I thought you'd probably be getting bored too. So here we are. Well, I can't deny the timing is impeccable. A mere 2 minutes more, being stationary like that, and my great brain upon which my success has been built would have been turned into wax. Thank goodness we arrived in time. Indeed, in many ways, the pair of you saved me the world from unimaginable loss. Oh, Harley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you? He could know something, that's true, about Lord Van Zeeks and what happened in the past to change him. Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? For you're in luck. I'm suddenly quite taken by the idea of conversing. Oh, well, actually, I'm quite in a hurry. If my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. A most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken. Really? Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that it's related to the matter of which you've come to me now. But how could it be? We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow. But for now, I must return to my work. What? Back to a temporary waxwork exhibit? What is this place? Madame Tuspels came to London from France 3 years ago, it said. Since she opened this little waxwork museum last year, it's enjoyed great popularity in London. I was going to say Japan. We're in now Japandon.
Japandon.
Yep. There are museums like this in Japan too, but these displays are something else.
I mean, they aren't made from actual real people, are they? No, I mean, they aren't actually made from real people, are they? The extreme realism of these waxworks is a particular secret of Tuspel's family, they say. They earned renown during the French Revolution for waxwork of victims of the guillotine. I'm pretty sure they actually used the actual heads of each person and the bodies as references. That sounds grim. The gruesome scenes were portrayed with such realism in the expressions of the faces of the condemned. Oh, it's almost 4 a.m., buddy.
Is it? Is it
is.
really?
It is almost 4 a.m. I swear, I was hoping this session would be done. But this is a long investigation thing. But if you're going to bed, have a good night, James.
I'll see you later.
See you later. Night.
Night.
Apparently, the sculptors would make the models directly from the corpus right there at the site of the executions.
That really turns my stomach. That's just one of the several legends about the Tuspel's family. Where there's any truth in it, I couldn't say. But that would make the most sense to get such accuracy, though. But anyway, this museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum, by quite some margin, is the House of Horrors. House of Horrors? Of course, visitor numbers are dwindling now as a result of the Great Exhibition. But people usually flock here to see exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows. So, they're even stiffer now than the models of them! Have you heard of poor taste? My dear fellow, the public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked. So, the hideous exhibits in here are...
There are portrayals of real events that actually took place. Is it just me, or did the temperature in here just seem to drop?
Anyway, I advise you not to think too deeply about it. What you see here. Oh, he's back to waxwork, is he? What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Sholmes? Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act. Catching them? Every half hour, I home in on a different killer in one of the displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare them. When members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them my hand to shake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us. Unless, does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in here? But why, Mr. Sholmes? My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money. We got to have money. Really, he really roared out at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors. As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent, and I have the ravenous iris to consider.
Oh, Hurley. So hungry.
If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Naruto. What's he threatening me to rope me into now? So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? As a special treat, you may have your pick of one of the murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours. Maybe some other time. Remember, Naruto. Mr. Naruto, ignore me at your peril. Bing! Back to being waxwork again. Is this me, or did his final remark there sound a lot like a curse? Well, what is it you'd like to ask me then? Actually, it's about Lord Von Zeeks. Ah, our friend Mr. Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust.
And so I filled Mr. Shrooms in about everything I learned about Lord Von Zeeks, about Professor Hairbrain, and about the strange coincidence that they have been in the university together. And it was not 11 hours long. So I'm wondering what was that happened to make Lord Von Zeeks such a different person.
I was sure that you'd know, Hurley.
You said that there was something going on here in the exhibit hall before, that something was afoot, and that you believe it was related to what I wanted to ask you about. Mr. Sholmes? He suddenly clammed up. Well, it seems we've... Blah, 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 blah. It seems we've reached the unavoidable... Greetings. Greetings. Oh, hello. Where did she appear from? And what's she wearing? Could she be any more mysterious? She has red eyes. She's Tifa.
I hope you are appreciating my museum.
Sorry, have we... Mr. Sholmes, do you know this? Not again.
My apologies. I am Esmeralda Tuspels. This is my museum of waxwork.
What? You are the Madame Tuspels?
Bien, sir.
She's French.
Bien, sir.
How do you say that? Whatever.
Though only 26 years young, I might add.
Is that a significant how, somehow?
I'm a madam in name only. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi.
Je ne sais quoi.
I don't know how to have a French accent. Right.
Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks, or rather, one waxwork in particular.
That'll be Mr. Sholmes, then.
I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble.
Do it, 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 do it. Did he just go through the wall? I think he just went through the wall.
She sounds deadly serious.
That's a problem. How am I supposed to ask Mr. Sholmes about Lord Von Zeeks now?
Let's not forget Hurley said before that about something being afoot here in the museum I'm in.
Yes, I know, but
I'm so curious. I want to know what's happening here.
haven't we got enough of on our plate already?
Not wrong. Also, because of me watching playthroughs of Ace Attorney games recently, especially Apollo Justice, like that would have been a prime spot to be like, oh, let's flash back to the scene we just had like 5 minutes ago.
What do you mean by flashback?
Like the game would literally flash back the scene of the dialogue taking place of, hey, you remember this thing we just talked about? Let's have a flashback of me saying that thing just 5 minutes ago.
Oh,
For
yeah.
no reason.
You used to do that a lot in older Ace Attorney games.
And just Apollo Justice, the 4th entry, was just very
I don't remember much
extra about it.
I don't remember too much about it. It's been a long time since I last played it, that's for sure. Waxworks. Do you mean... Did you make all these waxworks, Madame Tuspels?
I did. I'm the 3rd generation waxwork of artisans, you know. Gosh.
Gorsh.
It was my grandmother who began tradition in my family. Her fortunes were secured. They're secured. occurred while living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. Though that is when she acquired the severe fare that leads to the astonishing lifelikeness. All these waxworks really do look like they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley. What do you see exhibited here represents the most atrocious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks were created in the presence of the real people on which they are molded. In the hours immediately following the execution, that is. Secret to the extraordinary likeness.
That sounds terrifying.
All works of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths.
It's kind of true, to be honest.
My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see.
Ugh. Why couldn't the public have wished for something less horrifying?
Do not fear.
Sorry?
This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you will explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians. Something for every taste, I hope.
It was Iris who dragged me straight in here. Come to think of it. Hey, he's gonna get a wax model by the end of this game, I bet.
Sorry, perhaps I should have eased you into things.
What's the situation with that?
My temporary waxwork model. He approached me some days ago, you see, with a business proposal.
Oh, what sort of proposal? My dear madame, what these spare exhibits need is an edition of a world-famous great detective. You alright?
Well, me?
I heard a slam, that's all.
Oh. Oh, I just put my controller down.
Okay, that was a large slam. Or
words to that effect. Naturally, I was well aware of Mr. Sholmes is widely known in London as a talented detective.
It's great detective, actually. He's very specific about it.
Yes, the creme de la creme. The creme de la creme. So I was keen to come to some arrangements with him, of course. But sadly, we are unable to agree terms.
Let me guess. Someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services. Exorbitant price. For a mere £500, I will dive into your cauldron of wax this very moment.
Or words to that effect.
Mr. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch.
Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment due to unforeseen circumstances. So we came to a current arrangement instead.
Surely he doesn't really need to do what he's doing, though, does he?
I would think not, but he was very assistant.
I have a 50 shilling problem. That must be resolved by the morning.
Or words to that effect. It's the pawnbroker. That's what it is. He must have something to redeem.
Is the consulting detective work not going so well? Something afoot. You mean something's a hand? Ah. I wonder, could I ask you something?
Bien sûr.
I'm just curious, is there anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps?
Whoever suggested such a thing to you? Oh, well, it was your temporary waxwork over there who mentioned to me a little. Oh. He's disappeared. A wax model is a work of art, not some lottery object for trade. Ah! There you are!
Leaving the exhibit again when you should be working. Do you wish to be melted down?
My dear Madam well, save your reprimands. There are some more pressing concerns. The wax can wait. It's our ideas about your current problem we must throw into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police.
Why ever not?
She's turned as white as a sheet. Because you have at your disposal a great detective whose services you may employ for mere 50 shillings. Though, please be aware, I insist upon payment in advance.
Very well. Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name, shall we?
Before I engage my analytical processes, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind the curtain?
That is the Tuspel special exhibit. There is an extra charge to see it.
Ah, the special exhibit of the House of Horrors. It must depict a special killer then, I presume. Would you be so kind to draw back the curtain, I wonder?
Absolument none. There is nothing amiss behind there.
Nothing amiss, madame.
Well then.
What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain? I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond before the situation worsens.
Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only a soupcon.
I must confess, I peeked behind the curtain earlier. The Tuspel special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. And yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer one would expect is nowhere to be seen. What does strike one, however, is the poor elderly gentleman lying peacefully on his back on the floor.
He's fine.
Well, then perhaps, Mr. Sholmes, that man on the floor is the ruthless killer himself. I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman, not even a waxwork, in fact.
What?
As skillfully made as these waxworks are, they are always indistinguishable from real humans. So, allow me to present my two conclusions. The first is that a sizable business transaction has been taking place in this special exhibit.
Why? Why would you say that?
And the second is that the aforementioned transaction is linked to a serious crime. She looks as pale as candle wax.
I don't understand.
So, Madame Tuspels, as you agree to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. Oh my god.
We finally made it to gameplay.
Oh, if I knew this was this long, I actually would not have played it right now. It is getting super late. Like, hold on, I need to temporary pause really quickly. Oh my god, this section is so long. This is actually getting a little bit annoying how long it is. They should have made this like a two-parter at least. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, nothing's really happened this whole
I mean,
investigation. You have to admit.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, this is way too much exposition and dialogue. This is too much for just like one part specifically.
There's a lot of setup. There's
Yeah.
a lot of setup.
Again, this should have been two-parter. They should have like either had like, oh, you can do the investigation and then you can meet the prison Von Zeeks afterwards kind of thing, or I don't know, like again, like the whole aspect of this is just way too long. I'm going on that aspect that this is just too much for like one part specifically is all. All right, let me just get ready reading. To begin with, we must ask ourselves, what exactly is afoot here in this museum? The answer is revealed by a bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some 200 pounds. That is all my own money. So what does this large sum of money reveal? Not as much as an involuntary glance you cast, it would seem, Madame Tussbells. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed to by the public notice. Waxwork for sale? Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for a sum of 200 pounds. I mean, that's kind of would make some sense. None. Now let us explore the next curiosity for which we are presented. Who is this portly gentleman stretched out peacefully on the floor? It would appear that the man has suffered a severe shock, cause of which is clearly known to you. Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealing that dealt such a man's shock was, of course, the 200 pounds. Yeah, she's really fat, by the way. It would appear that you twisted this gentleman around with your little finger most effectively. What are you suggesting? You was rashly agreed to purchase a waxwork of a sum of 200 pounds. Only when he came to hand over the money did it occur to him that what extortionate amount he was paying, and that money was no longer in his hands. And as a result, the scene is as we see before as he collapsed in shock. Yes, the killer in this exhibit fetched a killer price. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret. The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let's consider the problem for a moment. You cannot possibly. What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is that young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we only need to observe his neck, Chief. Such as is worn by policemen as a secret sign to the fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is undercover policeman currently investigating the museum. I know him well, in fact. This is Sergeant John Clay. What are you talking about? That man's quite a celebrity. He sees triple accolades at last year's policing awards. What? Next, we turn over attention to the old man sat before him with a particular unsightly visage. I've been watching him closely as he hasn't moved a muscle, almost in fact as if he were a waxwork. But your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe! The telltale sign that instinctively proves that about whether or not this old man is a waxwork is obviously the price tag. Threepence? A tragically low price, you might say. Though, perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks. And yet you sold it to portly gentlemen for an exuberant 200 pounds. That sort of plucky behavior was sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Is that so, madame? I do not... Yes, the waxwork you sold has already been seized by a policeman and remains in their custody as we speak. The old man must have reunited with his grave in a special exhibit not a moment too soon. Thus concludes the Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this horrifying puzzle. She's about to pour the melting pot over him. I see, I've stunned you all into silence.
You have, Hurley, you have. And you've obviously upset this young lady in the process. Her cauldron looks awfully hot.
If I could bring up 1 point, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, the notorious Naruhodo 1 point. I'm all ears, my dear fellow. According to your deduction, then the special exhibit featured this old policeman? So what would mean that he's particularly ruthless murderer? That would mean he's a particularly ruthless murderer, wouldn't it? The killer policeman, Ottermole. Sorry? It was a mysterious series of murders that rattled the capital only last year. The police rushed to the scene every time, only to find the culprit had disappeared into the aether.
And it turned out the culprit was a policeman himself, a senior officer by the name Ottermole.
You mean that that's who the sinister-looking old man they're supposed to be? Indeed, it's a particularly grim face, is it not? Unforgettable. In fact, yes, I remember the odious countenance only too well. But is 200 pounds a lot of money for a wax model? It would be enough to afford one of the latest steam carriages, if that puts things in perspective. So it's quite a lot then.
Is there anything else you wish to add before I melt you down?
The bubbling wax is looking more and more ominous.
Oh, the smell of molten wax is starting to worry me.
Mr. Sholmes did more or less just accuse her to her face, so I think I might have to call on your assistance here, Iris, if it's alright, to make some minor corrections in the Great Detective's great deductions.
Of course it's alright. We're set things straight.
Well, let's get started then, shall we?
Before Madame Tusspass
Vents her anger. Just do it already. Just what I want. What?
No, it's just like, yeah, the build up, like after Sholmes does his deduction, it's just like it takes a little bit longer than I prefer to get to the gameplay.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on. Again, if I knew this was gonna be this long, I would have started playing this a little earlier because it's getting to 4 a.m. I wanted to go to bed a little bit earlier than this.
4 a.m. crew.
Yeah, well, I usually like to lay in bed until 4 a.m. But now I have to get things ready. Just what I like to hear, my dear fellow. So, Madame Tusspass, in accordance with our agreement, you shall now have your pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work.
But yes, this is the last section before the investigation.
I would assume so, honestly. Alright, I'm not going to repeat all this stupid stuff until it gets to the new stuff. So, it's bungalow bake notes, 200 pounds. Okay, so this is the first thing that needs to change. She definitely looked into this direction. It's true. The
I'm not sure she'd sell any wax. She'd sell any of her waxwork, even for 200 pounds. Oh, she must pour her heart and soul into making them, don't you think? Over and above the wax. Well, again, it's heavily dependent on like a lot of things for people to sell stuff. For me, I wouldn't sell for them for anything. For that much money, I would, but it sounds like that make me a bad person. Again, it depends on the situation, how you make the things. It's like games. If you pour your heart and soul into making them, and you're selling them, it's up to you. Anyway, I wonder if 200 pounds could have some significance. Let's follow the furtive glance again and see if there's anything else that could explain it. Sure, be 200 pounds. I don't think his man's up for sale.
No, that dude.
Mm-hmm. Ah, that says scribble. Scribbly doo da dee for 200 pounds. It's that note. That note is for 200 pounds. What's that note doing pinned on the wall there? Oh, yes, let's see. Dear Madame Tuspels, we've taken the prisoner from this room. The price for his safe return is 200 pounds. Have the money ready by noon on 23rd of October. That's tomorrow. What? What? This is like some sort of thing that's left behind when someone is kidnapped. It's a ransom note. Exactly.
Take that!
The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by the ransom note. Quite so. We must congratulate these criminals on their inventiveness abducting a waxwork. True. 200 pounds is no small ransom fee, yet you clearly intend to pay it. The model in question has special importance, so I put together all the money I have. So that's why she says she's short on money. In summary then, 200 pounds you have in your handbag is ransom money. Now, let's explore the next curiosity with which we are presented. The big fat man on the down. Here suffers severe shock, blah blah blah. You clearly known. You dance down. Yeah, she gained 200 pounds. If the waxwork were kidnapped, where does that leave us in terms of who the man is? We could ask him when he comes around. I think the point of this exercise is to understand the beauty of deduction process, Iris. Or we can wait around. I like waiting. Do you like waiting? I like waiting. Let's wait around for another 3 hours. Yes, you're right. Hurley's trying so hard, we mustn't let them down. Well, there's a little doubt that he suffered a shock. That much it seems clear. But in that case, what's Madame Tussauds trying to hide? Let's look a closer look around. Are we gonna look around here? I smell a lot.
What are you smelling?
I'm smelling her because I have to look around her.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense a lot. Wouldn't you make sense?
When I'm smelling someone, I don't know about that.
I guess you haven't smelled enough people.
This is true. That's my bad.
Yeah, clearly. Go out and smell more people, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, who needs to touch grass when you can just smell people?
See, left hand. Wait a minute. It's a left hand as well. Look. Don't say so creepy things, Iris. In fact, it's really hard. Why are you touching it? It's made of wax.
Take that!
What dealt that man such a shocking blow was, of course, the waxwork hand. Indeed, with such a solid waxwork limb, one could deliver a substantial blow. How could you? The hand protruding from the bottom of your cape. It ought to be a right hand, but closer inspection reveals it's in fact a left hand. Ah. And somewhat masculine as well. In other words, it does not belong to you, madame. It's a hand of a waxwork model.
Some of the visitors to my museum can be troublesome. They meddle with the exhibit and cause damage.
So you mean that arm?
Yes, this gentleman saw fit to try to remove it as a souvenir.
No small keepsake. Like taking a whole bunch of like a branch of cherry tree before you go to view the blossoms.
I'm afraid I had to teach that man a lesson.
You confronted the man and tried to take the arm back. And the result, the scene we see for us, he was knocked unconscious. A point we may need to revisit later, but for the time being, we have our conclusion. Yes, the killer in this special exhibit has been kidnapped. The question then arises, blah blah blah. Alright, read this. According to Mr. Sholmes, the yellow neckerchief is a sign to other policemen that some crime is underway. A way of communicating with his colleagues without revealing identity, yes. It's a secret that's closely guarded by Scotland Yard. And yet he revealed it, and that Mr. Sholmes didn't hesitate to give it away.
Well, uncovering secrets is any true detective's nature, of course.
Right. Anyway, judging from Madame Tusper's reaction to Mr. Sholmes' deduction, I think perhaps we might not have identified the man quite correctly. What the? That man's stub sticking out of his shoulder, where his arms should be. Well, that settles it then. Right, this isn't a real person at all. His entire arm has been ripped off from the shoulder down. His arm has been... Of course, that ties it with what we just found out.
Take that!
Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we only need to observe his shoulder stub. No boneless woman walks this earth, of that I can assure you. In other words, this man standing here, the young Sergeant John Clay, is in fact defying all odds a waxwork model. I seem to remember it was you who concluded he was a real person in the first place, Mr. Sholmes.
He has become quite a celebrity in London, being a winner of no less than 3 policing awards last year. I simply had to make a model of the man.
Naturally. And what other explanation could there be? And it was this detective's arm that was pulled off by the man on the floor in the special exhibit, wasn't it? Next, we turn to our attention to the old man's hat before him, in particular, slightly visage. Yeah, we've already seen this. Killer policeman called Ottermole, was it? Was he well known?
He was all over the papers last year, but I can't say I know what he looks like. It's a very low price though. Threepence isn't much money.
Only enough to a few measly hours of gas in the Mr. Garadeb's the life for lodgings, in fact. So this is the special killer taking from the special exhibit, is it? The waxwork that somebody stole from the museum and tried to ransom for 200 pounds. Is a crusty old killer policeman animal, really? Perhaps we should have a good look around and see what another idea crops up. Look at this! Oh, man's tapping for it like crazy. He seems to be fast asleep, though. He's not tapping for it consciously then. So you mean it must be a Twitch? Like we're doing right now, Twitch streaming. Never mind that. The point is that a whacker don't tap their feet or Twitch. Look at his arm too. We've seen that scarf somewhere else around here before, haven't we? I don't believe it. The sign that lets other detectives know that criminal activity is underway. Yes, it's slightly strange choice of outfit if he's trying to go unnoticed. He must be a detective disguised as a policeman, or a detective disguised as a waxwork of a policeman. Doesn't look like he's clever enough to think of something like that, though. Perhaps you can try a little bit more polite with him, Iris.
Take that!
The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is that obvious twitch. Even the most realistic waxwork do not exhibit a twitch. In other words, this splendid old man is a genuine member of Scotland Yard. Slight shift in your choice of adjectives, then. And there you have it. Well, Madam Tussbells? Well, what? It was me who contacted the police and demanded that someone come in the first place. He is clearly fatigued. He's very fatigued. He is sound asleep. But then, what's this tag about showing a price of 3 pence? No doubt the price tag of a muffler, which is the old Bobby purchased recently at a local market. And I presume you observed the scarf tied around his arm. Does it not strike you, Mr. Naruto? Yes, the secret sign used by detectives to show some criminal activity is currently underway. Of course, because as you know, there had been just such criminal activity happening here. As you deduced from the very beginning, detective. So, it would seem we finally arrived to the truth. The waxwork of a especially ruthless killer from the special exhibit has been kidnapped. And Scotland Yard are already investigating. But the model whereabouts remain a mystery. Thus concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great detection of this horrifying puzzle.
Ooh.
Woo. Still a mystery.
We haven't learned much, but we did it.
We just learned that what is happening. That's it.
Yeah.
All sorts of people visit my museum here. Men and women, young and old. Sometimes they drop in just for a short time on their way back from the pub. I welcome them all. But if anyone tries to damage my exhibits, I do not take it lightly. Anyway. Your great deduction was even more enchanting than I had been led to believe.
It was a pleasure, my dear madame. I'm gratified that you enjoyed the spectacle. And as for your rough customer, I've no doubt he will regain consciousness shortly and return home. What concerns me more is the waxwork from the special play, if it was indeed genuinely abducted.
Yes, tragically it was.
Then I would ask you to recount to us the events surrounding the stolen waxwork.
in such much detail as possible, if you please.
Very well. I have told you what I know. I must insist that you return. But after I told you what I know, I must insist you return to your work.
The talents of the great detective could be put in better use, I feel, but as you wish.
Tell us more about the stolen waxwork, please. It was some days ago when I came in here one morning. I immediately noticed that a waxwork was missing from the special exhibit here. It was most prominent on display, so that's why the curtains were closed. And I found the ransom note in its place.
The culprit must have broken in during the night and taken it then.
So it was the waxwork that was stolen. It was a model of some horrible criminal, I suppose. Of a particularly horrible criminal, in fact. The killer who left a more profound scar on society than any other, I would say. The Professor.
Not a name I heard of. So, Mr. Naruhodo, it seems the circle is complete. Sorry?
The Professor case happened at around the time I was born, didn't it?
Indeed it did, Iris. 10 years ago, a series of murders that rocked the capital. 10 years ago? Yes, at exactly the time that Barak von Zieks graduated from university, in fact.
What?
Surely he's not saying...
So the big event that changed Mr. Reaper's life?
As you surmised, it was the Professor case.
Dun, dun, dun.
Who was the Professor then? They really like to use 10 years because they use 10 years for a lot of different things in the Ace Attorney, even investigations.
Yep.
It was a series of gruesome murders that all had all of London gripped in terror a decade ago. After 5 were killed, the man was arrested and put to death.
And now he's immortalized here in wax for all Londoners to admire and enjoy. Though, of course, he happens to be absent at the present, on an account of abduction. I don't understand. How is all this related to Lord Van Zieks? You must first understand, my dear fellow, why it is that the Professor earned such infamy. It was due to the victims he chose. Some of Whitehall's finest.
What do you mean, Hurley?
Those murdered by the Professor were some of the highest members of the British aristocracy, blah 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 blah. Members of nobility, even royalty. It sent shockwaves through the country's administration. Members of the... Wait, of course! The Professor Hairbrain said, Lord Von Zieks is from a family with noble blood.
Oh, gosh.
It was the 5th victim that led to the Professor's arrest. The last of the killer's prey was a young noble by the name of Clint Von Zieks.
Name drop.
No. I don't believe it. Von Zieks?
I'm sure you can piece together the rest for yourself. In the wake of his older brother's murder, the young Barak pursued a career as a prosecutor. So I was assuming it was the father, not a brother, but you know what? I was close enough. And eventually became the Reaper we know today.
I had no idea Lord Von Zieks has such a tragic past.
It's almost everything in these Japanime games that have tragic pasts. That's just
makes them people be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Why can't everyone just have a happy-go-lucky past and just be like a terrible person?
Like,
Why can't everyone?
yeah,
be,
I wonder why.
Why can't everyone be like just Jack Horner? Just be like, oh, I had such a normal life, loving parents, financial stability. I just wanted to be evil because.
Just for the lulz.
Pretty much. Well, I'm afraid that's all I can say on the matter. For the time being, at least. After all, I have work to do. Ding! As a waxwork exhibit. I'm afraid I shall have to excuse myself as well. Oh, yes, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Well, none of the predicted snares I've been analyzing involved you coming to visit me here. It's been so too long. It really has. I'm delighted to see you, Barak. It's been 10 years, and here we are, meeting in a prison of all places. I can't forgive myself for what happened to Mr. Osman. I just can't. I still can't believe it could happen. Tomorrow the court will decide. Yes. I have a young Eastern man acting for my defense. He seems reliable enough, though. They say tomorrow, but knowing how this game plays, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen, like, the next day. Because they always be like, oh, I'm going to delay it because of... It really was an accident. A terrible accident. He assures me he can prove it. I must warn you. He's staring at the camera. He's warning me. Oh, I know. I've heard already. You're the prosecuting, aren't you? You'll be prosecuting, aren't you? Yes. Since I've returned to England, I've heard lots of stories. Barak, are you really? What? Never mind. I know you have my best interests at heart. My friend is on trial. I wouldn't entrust it to anybody else. Of course, I fully understand. Thank you, Barak. Until tomorrow, then. I'll see you in court. I guess no hard feelings between friends. Even though I'm trying to prosecute you guilty. God dang, this took long. Oh my god.
Yeah. That is.
That is. I
Good
mean,
job.
I will say it is interesting, but by God, I hate that whole section. I only hate it because it took too long. I definitely think they either put a two-parter or they dragged on a lot of things. How many save files I can make in this game? 20. I can almost make a save file.
Yeah, I would recommend for the next investigation part to either break it into two streams or something, because that's going to be even longer.
Okay, well, you're going to have to tell me when's a good spot, like, legitimately, because I don't know when I'm going to be playing next, so you're going to have to, like, give me a subsection when it is, kind of thing. Like, after I beat the trial, because after I do the trial, which is going to be one session, you're probably going to have to give me a message telling me when is about a good time to stop, okay?
Okay.
It just has to be vague enough that I can know, like, without spoilers being like, oh, this is a good spot, because... I legitimately did not know this game was going to be this, like, not game, okay, this game is going to be long, yeah, of course. I legitimately did not know that investigation was going to be that long. Again, like, if I knew it was going to be that long, I would have stopped it, like, probably a couple hours ago. I probably would have just, because, like, I thought the investigation was like, oh, you would find all the evidence and that'll be done. But I just kept going. I would have just stopped before I did that whole investigation thing over there, personally. Or at the very least, I played this earlier. That's all it is. Oh. But I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm done. I'm gonna call it there. It is freaking late. Jesus. Well, we got into Great Ace Attorney. We got into the third section, and we're gonna figure out from there. All right, I'm just gonna end it now, and I'm just gonna not do too much stuff because again, it is past 4 a.m. I'm wanted to go to bed a little bit earlier than this. Who am I gonna raid? I did Scoino before. I did Emden before. I haven't done Double D in a while, so I'll raid him. He's playing Dragon Ball Breakers. He's playing like random stuff, but maybe I could play with him when Sparking Zero comes out, but we'll see. Oh wow, they have a browser for raid. They can find someone to raid. Interesting. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for Justin for dropping by, and everyone else who has been in like chat and everything. Thank you everyone for dropping by. We're gonna raid Double D. He's playing Dragon Ball The Breakers right now. And yeah, if you enjoy a little bit of Dragon Ball content, he plays Dragon Ball Breakers, but also during intermissions, he plays like a random Dragon Ball game. Like I think he's currently playing Budokai Tenkaichi 2 while he waits. So it's kind of funny how he waits. As he waits, he plays another game, which is kind of like, I would say, creative in my part. But yeah. Anyway, take care, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. If it's gonna be have a little bit more weekend left, I'll stay safe, and I'll see you guys in another stream of mine or someone else's. I don't plan on streaming D&D tomorrow because D&D is gonna be it's still gonna be on hiatus for a little bit. Hopefully he's gonna come back soon. Otherwise, it's just gonna be relaxing. Probably tomorrow. I'm not gonna do, maybe not gonna be streaming because I got a lot of things to do. Anyway, take care, and goodbye. Justin, if you want to say any final words before we go.
Don't kick people unless they're Herlock Sholmes, but even then you should probably apologize after. Okay, bye.
Bye.